Hello and welcome to the fourth round of the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 Formula 2 Pacific Series here for the Monaco Grand Prix. My name is Exprit, and joining me in the commentary box for tonight's race, please welcome CurvingTexas.
Thank you. Pleasure to join you again tonight here at Monaco.
It's going to be an awesome race here tonight at the Monaco Grand Prix. We're going to quickly swap it over now to the main screen. Obviously, we do have the one-shot qualifying session here around the streets of Monaco. It's going to be a really cool track race here tonight. Obviously, everyone is on default setups and default, all the F2 cars are completely equal anyway, so it's going to be really tight racing here this afternoon, and also be a little interesting as well because all these drivers will be running 6.6 wings, which is pretty low wings considering the track that we are at here this afternoon. So we'll have to see how the drivers end up coping with that. So it's going to be an interesting qualifying session here. Hopefully it'll give us a little idea to see how the pace is for everyone this afternoon.
Yeah, so got nothing going in towards this one. We'll soon see who is the fastest around this track. A lot of mistakes to be made here, as I've just seen Roscoe go wide into the first turn. So, yeah, definitely can lose a lot and gain a lot of time in any spot on this track.
Yeah, you definitely can. It's just, if you can keep your nose clean, keep your front wing on for the whole race, you'll be fine. You'll be able to just get to the end of the race without any troubles, and you'll have a pretty high chance of getting a podium here at Monaco. I'm going to try and get it towards the top, and look at that. James Cruz, unfortunately, is in the wall, and Todd also looked like he made a mistake.
I did see that as well.
It looks like Crossy's at the top of the moment.
Pure Gold as well.
Yeah, Todd and Pure Gold down to pin 1920.
Lost their lap pretty early on there.
Ooh, and he's retired, so unfortunately for Toddy, we'll be starting at the rear of the grid for the feature race here this afternoon.
This is the one where you want to be starting high up, because we all know what Monaco's like.
And you get the most points as well for winning the feature race. You don't get as many for winning the sprint, so you want to be trying to get as many points as possible. It's going to be interesting as well for the sprint race as well. As you saw, Crossy nearly put in the wall there. He had a little bit of oversteer on his heading through the bus stop chicane, but he's now heading into Raskas to complete his lap, heading into the final corner. I need to get up a track map so I can see what the names are of these corners, so I always get them wrong. Heading through down the main straight. Crossy does go fastest.
He's gone top with that.
It's 1 minute 20.
Was leading coming into that last corner as well, so very close. Only, what's that, 18 thousandths.
Yeah, it's very close there between the top two. So Crossy F1 going pole position with a 4.69, Gaming Wafer going a P2 with a 4.87, and then Iceman a 1 minute 20.9. So he's a little bit off the front two at the moment, but it looks like we have a little bit of a race here for the top two here this afternoon. Maybe they were the only ones that actually got a really clean lap in, so we'll have to see. Obviously, it is very hard to overtake in Monaco, so if you can lead into turn one, you have a very good chance at winning this Grand Prix. But as you can see here, 1/100th of a second separated, or just under 2/100ths, I should say, separate the Gaming Wafer and Crossy on the front row of the grid. Then Iceman, the other ART Grand Prix driver, in P3. So both ARTs doing a pretty good job there in position 2 and 3. The Carlin driver, Tojridi, in P4. Breno, P5, P6. Dr. Dre, 3000 of a Prima, leading his teammate Plevs in P7. Jay Schmidt, P8, P9, Spilly, and rounding out your top 10 will be the camp boss of Big Donga, ahead of Gold Gloves, Romy, Stone Tower, Kickbutt Kiwi, BK, Roscoe Arm, to Lunacy. Unfortunately for Lunacy, James Cruz, Toddy, and Pure Gold, they were all unable to get a lap in. But we'll go back to the screen now. If you want to give us a few track stats here, CurvingTexas, for the Monaco Grand Prix circuit.
Sure thing. So here at the Monaco Grand Prix, the track length is 3.337 kilometers, which is the shortest of the year that we come to, and obviously meaning that it is also the slowest average speed around this track. Not a very fast track, a lot of low gear corners here and stop and start kind of. But yeah, so we've got 19 corners around the track. A few overtaking hotspots, mainly turn 1 and down out of the tunnel into that chicane. I think they're the main spots. You can pull off a move into the third last corner. But yeah, you definitely need a good run and a lot of space there. Got to be wary of that. But yeah,
it's definitely going to be a tight race here, and I think we'll definitely see a lot of aggression coming out from the drivers here, just trying to get the overtakes done, especially from some of the... Well, we'll mainly see that, I reckon, in the sprint race, where a couple of the front drivers towards the mid-pack, so we'll probably see that a little more in the next race. But obviously this race, we just saw in the qualifying session before, Gaming Wafer and Crossy were really, really close in time. There was nothing separating those two, so we'll have to see how they end up going in this Grand Prix, and obviously they're on the formation lap at the moment. 21 laps. That's actually a little bit of laps here that they'll be doing, but they will be making a pit stop here in this Grand Prix as well, as it is the feature race.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not too sure. I can't really pick, obviously. We've seen some pretty consistent runners across the front here. Crossy actually sort of dominating his teammate in that qualifying session. We've seen Schmidt be the most consistent out of those two Sauber drivers. But yeah, so it's good to see that Crossy is also up there. They'll be needing some good points. Obviously, those 4 points from qualifying will help out with their with his championship, as well as the constructors or teams championship as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just brought up a track map here. So as you said, the main overtaking spots and the only actual DRS zone we didn't point out as well on the track stats is the run into turn 1 from the final corner at Anthony Nogue. So it will be interesting to see if any drivers can get a little advantage of that. But obviously it won't be till lap 3 that we will see DRS enable for the drivers that are now heading into the final sector through the swimming pool. The majority of them go. So it's going to be an interesting race here. Let's get your predictions here, Curving. Who do you reckon is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix feature race?
I think it's going to be pretty hard to pick in terms of someone who's a little bit further back, but I think you might see, with the pit stops and stuff and everything that goes on, I think you might see someone come up. I really want to say one of either Plevs or Dre is going to get on the podium here. Crossy and Wafer look very quick, so they're going to be hard to beat, I think. But for the other podium spot, I feel like one of the Prema cars might get on the podium.
It's going to be tight here, but obviously the main two that will want to get off to a good start will be Crossy and the Gaming Wave. They pretty much can determine, or there is a very high chance that you can win this race if you lead into turn 1. So we are waiting for the light sequence. Well, the light sequence has now begun for the drivers. 5 red lights for the feature race at the Monaco Grand Prix. And we are underway. It looks like Crossy got a very slow start there. Gaming Wafer got a better one. I think he may have had the start glitch, but now they head into Sandevot. They go for the first time. It looks like Wafer's going to lead. Crossy has dropped all the way back down to P3, and it's an ART 1-2 at the moment as they head up the hill through the turn 2 and up to turn 3. They now head. So Crossy's dropped down 2 spots off the Grand Prix there. A pole position man has not had the best start, but as you can see, Toddy trying to make a move there on Breno, heading into that right-hander, heading into the slowest section on the racetrack now. Oh, you can see going down the inside there. That was Billy trying to make it 3 wide, and he's made contact there with Plevs and Dr. Dre. So the 2 Premas did make contact there. And look at that going down the inside. Romy Alonso, the hairpin 3 wide at the hairpin. They've hit the inside, like plant type of thing there.
You just can't overtake at that hairpin.
You really can't. It's not an overtaking spot.
Very hard move to pull off. Only some people can pull it off, and I suppose...
Oh, sorry, Romy's just put kickback here in the wall there. So unfortunately for Romy's been a little bit over-aggressive here at the beginning of this race. We'll go back to the lead at the front. As you can see, Gaming Wafer leads away at the moment. His teammates in P2, so it's been an absolute dream start for the ART team. They're currently P1 and position 2. Crossy F1 in P3 ahead of Breno, Toj, Dr. Dre leading his teammate Plevs in P6 and 7. There's a yellow flag at the rear. I do need to bring up some telemetry in a sec, but let's find what that yellow flag was for. Oh, who's that front wing? That looks like it was Tolunacy's front wing. He does not have a right end plate there by the looks of it. So unfortunately for Tolunacy, he does have front wing damage very early in this Grand Prix, and that is not something that you want at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, so pretty much everyone has gone with the super softs early on. The only driver without the super softs is Roscoe. He's gone onto those softs from the start of the race.
Sorry, there's a car stopped at heading up Beau Rivage. That is Romy Alonso. So unfortunately for the Racing Point driver, not the Racing Point driver, I apologize, the Arden driver. He is unfortunately he does have front wing damage, and he spun up Beau Rivage. That's not really a place that you see too many incidents happening down there, but there is also a very high chance of a safety car here this afternoon. We haven't really pointed that out, but it looks like Crossy's all over the back of Iceman now. He's trying to force the ART driver into a mistake as they head through the chicane. I think Crossy just got his first warning of the Grand Prix there as well. He did go 4 wheels off the track heading through the chicane, so they now head through the swimming pool section on lap 2 of the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, those 3 have definitely pulled ahead here. Breno's dropped back 2 seconds, so he might be struggling a little bit here. Few people who have come up a bit, Toddster and Pure Gold, right from the back of the grid, have both come up to 13th and 15th respectively. Few other runners sort of making moves and stuff, but you just got to stay safe at this point of the race, especially if an early safety car does come out. Yeah, it really comes down to track position here, and I'd probably almost say that, not that I know how much the tyre deg in these F2 cars can last, but I don't think it'd be early enough to go those softs and straight to the end.
Oh no, definitely. It's why you need to stay a little bit longer. Normally, I believe from previous experience, I think it's around lap 7 or 8 you can pit and you can just get to the end. So we'll have to see when the drivers do opt to pit. A lot of them, as you said before, are starting on that soft compound of tyre, so super soft compound of tyre. Gold Gloves is actually the only one at the moment on the soft, so I think he actually did make a pit stop, so he will be he'll try and make it to the end if he's able to. Gaming Wafer heading into the chicane now. As you can see, locked up both tyres a little bit, but Iceman's actually put a little bit of a gap now to
they pulled him in.
So they're actually, now the two ART drivers are catching up to each other. As you can see, Wafer leads ahead of his teammate Iceman. There's another yellow flag. It's at the hairpin. I believe that is Pure Gold? I'm not too sure. It's a little bit confusing with the car. I think it was actually James Cruz. Yeah, it was James Cruz. So unfortunately for himself, I think he made a little error at the Grand Hotel hairpin, but he will continue on in position 18 respectively, but they now head on to lap 4 of the feature race.
Early pit stop for Dre here. He's just come into the pits. Not sure if he had damage or anything. I'll have a look at the pit stop and just check out what's going on here. But obviously moving in to go onto those soft tyres pretty early. Considering... Yeah, so... It's just a tyre change, so maybe he just wants a bit of track position on his own at the back there, and especially if a safety car comes out and he can make up some time before that. There's a lot of penalties getting handed out here, which again is pretty key around this circuit. There's mainly obviously at the bottom of the out of the tunnel into that chicane there, but there's a lot of chicanes and stuff that you can cut here that can potentially cost you a lot of positions, considering there's not much overtaking room. So if you get held up with those penalties, it can affect you later on.
So yeah, the main places that you are at risk of getting penalties is obviously at this point here at the chicane, heading through turn 1, and also heading through the chicane of turn 15 and 16 at the exit of the swimming pool, heading up to Raskas. So here, this chicane here, that it's very easy to just jump that second curb. And so we continue on now as they head into Raskas.
Yeah, so we've got our first prediction in here from Banana Cake. He reckons that Crossy's going to jump both the ART drivers, and that Wafer is going to fall behind his teammate. So effectively swapping the podium around there, which can be done. I think the main thing for the ART boys is if there is a safety car, they will have to double stack at this point, and that will definitely affect Iceman. Considering what track position they've got at the moment.
As you can see, Toad's already coming into the pits now for a front wing change. He's going to continue on. I can hear myself, so you might be able to hopefully fix your mic there, Curving. Sorry about that. But yeah, we are on lap 5 of 21. As you can see, there's a couple of drivers into the pits. Toad's Rudy Schmidt and Todd are all into the pit lane. But Gaming Wafer still leads. He's got his teammate right behind him. That's better, thank you. So Iceman and Gaming Wafer still leading the way for ART. Crossy's still there, but there is that yellow flag now. That's at the final corner. Who's that? That's James Cruz. So unfortunately for himself, heading through Anthony Oaks, he's actually crashed on a pretty weird spot there. So I'm not too sure. I think he may have actually been reset to track. So that's normally what happens when you normally end up in that spot when you reset the track. But I think that's actually Breno. Actually, no, Gaming Wafer's binned it. He's off now. He's made contact. So there was yellow flags at the chicane. So did him and his teammate make contact potentially? I'm going to have a look here as Iceman heads into the second last corner. Does there any damage? Doesn't actually look like it, so I'm not too sure what's happened there with the two ART drivers, but Gaming Wave has now dropped down to P4.
Yeah, so nothing I can see there on the incident reports either. Gaming Wafer has got one for exceeding track limit, so whether he's just run too deep into the corner and didn't want to gain an advantage for a penalty, I think is the only real thing I can... Unless he's clipped that inside wall with his rear tyre and just lost out. But yeah, a shame for him, but no damage by the looks of it, so he should be able to continue on and hopefully still get a good result out of this one. Actually, he has lost his left end plate, I just realised.
There's a lot of drivers actually in the pits now, so as you can see there's about 6 drivers in the pits, them being Romy, Pure Gold, Stone Tower, Big Donger, Spilly, all coming into the pits, and Spilly's made an error there. He's gone over the pit exit line, so he may be in a little bit of trouble here, Spilly. I'm not too sure if he would have got a warning or a penalty for that, but maybe that's something for the stewards to look at post-race, but he definitely did cross that pit exit line, so he might be in a little bit of trouble here from the stewards. But Breno's actually got himself up onto the podium now. Will he be able to catch up to Crossy and Iceman? As you saw him there just cut that corner, so he does actually, unfortunately for himself now, he's going to have a warning next to his name, and Gaming Wafer just got himself a 3-second penalty, pushing a little bit too hard at the moment. Not too surprised. He would be very frustrated with himself now after having that little incident that he just had on the previous lap at the chicane.
Yeah, very impressed with Dre here. Obviously that early pit stop. He has moved up in front of Plez. I'm pretty certain he was behind him when he came into the pit. But he's about 2.4 seconds in front, just getting held up from Lunacy at the moment. But I'd say we'll probably see most of the front runners. Obviously Iceman and Breno have both stayed out here, but the others should come in, I believe.
So the two, Gaming Wafer and Crossy, are both in the pits. And just a quick note there, Crossy actually got held in the pits by Gaming Wafer as he was coming down the pit lane. So the Sauber driver was forced to sit in the pit lane or his box for a little bit longer than I think he would have ideally liked. There's another yellow flag. I think there's a pile up at the chicane. There is. VSR Roscoe is in the wall. Mahivia Ragunathan has unfortunately binned it at the chicane. So unfortunately he's going to have more wing damage, I think, is Roscoe. He has already made a pit stop in this Grand Prix, so it's not going to be ideal for him. Have a look now at his car. We don't really have the best view. We're currently on a helicopter view, so it's not ideal to see. I'm not too sure if you have a better view at all. Oh, here we go. He doesn't actually look like he has any front wing damage, so he's going to continue on by the looks of it, is Roscoe but we're going to run through your order real quick. I think Iceman will actually box this lap, to be honest. He's I think the safest thing here is to respond to the drivers behind him, and there's a very high chance of a safety car coming out in this Grand Prix as well. So I think it would just be smart for Iceman to come in the pits as he does so here on lap 7 of 21 here at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely worked out for Prema here. They're up to 4th and 5th on track at the moment, but I'd say they'll jump Breno. It'll be interesting to see where Iceman comes out in relation to them, considering he has stayed out that extra lap.
So Breno's also into the pit lane. We'll have to ride on board with Crossy as he's heading through Anthony Nogues now for the 7th time as they come down the main straight. Obviously, he's actually going to have a very nice run heading into turn 1. Is he going to jump? Iceman's actually got a pretty nice jump here. Look at he's got a pretty nice jump on Crossy.
Breno's done well as well. He's kept 3rd spot here as well. So
Dr. Dre up to P4 now. So both the Pramers have actually done a really good job here. They've jumped a lot of cars in those pit stops. So just pitting that couple of laps early, getting into some clean air, has really helped the two Pramers. So they could be potentially on for a podium here. They're just outside, Breno in front of both of them, so they can work together. Obviously, who's that getting in the way? That's James Cruz. And there's a pile up, I think, again at turn 1 between the two Camposes, I believe that was. So that's BK and Big Dong, and I did see those two very close to each other as they head on the exit of the first turn. So I think those two may have made contact. They are known for making contact a couple of times, is the two Campos drivers, and have done it before. So unfortunately for Big Donger, he is out of the Grand Prix for the feature race. He will be starting from the rear, and as you can see, James Cruz actually getting in the way at the moment. He needs to get out of the way of these guys. He needs to pull over to get out of the way of everyone. And of course, you really do not want to be driving through someone, let alone at the Monaco Grand Prix. And as you can see there, I think that's Big Donger's car pulled off on the escape road heading into, is it Massenet? It's not Massenet. It is Mirabeau.
No.
Mirabeau. Yeah, that's it. Monaco's got I wouldn't say the weirdest, but every corner has a name and they're so different. It's just so hard to remember them. But yeah, so I reckon the Prem's on for a good chance.
Before.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like that. Dr. Dre trying to make a move there on Breno heading into turn 1. Breno had to defend the inside line, but obviously, as we did talk about at the beginning of the Grand Prix, it is very easy to defend your position here. And Gaming Wave has actually just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so he's trying to catch up to Spilly in front, who is in P6. He hasn't really been talked about too much yet, has Spilly. He's up 3 spots from position 9 as well, so he's done a pretty good job to get himself to where he is at the moment.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. He's definitely pulling these guys in. I think Breno doesn't quite have the pace to hold his position, but this is the right track for it, where as long as you make your car wide and keep those tyres going and keep out of the walls, you're in with a good chance here. So podium's still on the cards here for Breno, which would be very welcome for that team.
So Dr. Dre looks like he has a run here, but he's going to have to pull out of it. It's not the most ideal place to make an overtake, but Plebs is here as well. He has, unfortunately, just not had the best of luck here so far in this series. It is round 4. I believe there is 8 rounds, I believe, altogether in the F2 Sprint Series, so that we can fit, or we're trying to fit in as many rounds as possible before the new F1 2020 game, which was released a couple of days ago. And we've also now seen the cover, which is actually pretty cool, to be honest, especially this Schumacher one. That looks really cool with himself standing there in the middle of the case. But we'll continue on with the race. As you can see, Stone Tower, which is not the very lazy tower, we have had that confirmed. He has now been overtaken by Lunacy as well. Into position 12 goes the Arden driver, but Kickbutt, he's actually got a pretty big train right behind him at the moment as has Tao, so I think he may have damage. As you can see, down the inside goes Kickbutt Kiwi, but now around the outside goes Pure Gold. Doesn't get the job done. He does actually, so he's going to go around the outside of pretty much 2 drivers there, as Stone Tower did end up going in the pits. Romy's made a little error there, I think, as well. Not too sure. I've got the worst angle at the moment.
Yeah, he just kind of clipped the back of Kickbutt coming through that last little kink there, and it sent Kickbutt off to the side, and Romy did make the move after that, so not sure if Kickbutt will want to have words or anything, but well, both moving on without any damage there. It's actually, well, Kickbutt does have no... Oh, that's a good save. That's a good save from Kickbutt.
Oh, I can't even catch it.
That's a nice save. Yeah,
I was watching the two Primoz swap positions. I was just about to say, Dr. Dre's lost a lot of time here to Breno, and now they've actually swapped position to have the 2 Primo drivers. So I believe that Plebs pitted 2 laps later than Dr. Dre, and I think it's now the smartest thing for them moving forward, just to let Plebs go, as he does have the fresher tyres compared to his teammates. So he's going to try and now keep within his DRS and slipstream range and try and get pulled along by his teammates. So both Primoz struggling at the moment to get ahead of Breno, but it's pretty hard to get ahead of anyone. He's actually got a pretty comfortable 2 seconds at the moment, has the damaged driver, so he will continue on. There is 10 laps remaining in the Grand Prix. 3.4 seconds separate our 2 leaders as well of Iceman and Crossy.
I was just going to point out that Crossy was definitely 2 seconds or 2.8 seconds behind, so he's made a mistake because Breno has pulled him in as well. It was up to 7.4 just before, and it's down to under 6.2. So actually, I can't tell. I haven't got a good view on it again, but I think he's got damage on his left end plate here. I think his left end plate is missing, so
yeah,
it's shame for Crossy there.
Okay, it's really going to be affecting his aerodynamic stability around the Monaco Grand Prix circuit, which you really need as much aero as possible. As you can see, he really struggled heading into that chicane. So we'll have to see if Breno's actually able to catch up as well. He's got 6 seconds he's going to have to try and make up. There's another yellow flag through Sector 1. That's the 2. Is that Roscoe Arm? No, it is Romy Alonso and Lunacy. It was an Arden driver, and you can see there Lunacy absolutely rear-ended the back of Pure Gold, and unfortunately there may be a little bit of damage to the Arden car, but those 2 were involved. There's a little angry battle pack at the moment. I believe James Cruz is in the mix of it as well, so he needs to get out of the way. You can see the Campos now, BK defending from Pure Gold. He's going to go the outside line now. There's Pure Gold. BK chops him off though, which he is allowed to do. He's going to try and go side by side through the chicane. He's trying to get the undercut under and over, which is just very hard to do. BK's doing a very good job at the moment to defend his position. It's not for points. We need to point this out, but obviously the further up you are in this Grand Prix, if you are out of the top 8, the further up you'll be starting for the race, because if you do finish in the top 8, the top 8 are reversed. We need to remember that. So Toes Rudy's in a pretty prime spot at the moment, but we need to remember Todd is right there as well, and I'm 100% sure he'll be wanting to start P8. He'll be very happy with where he's been able to get up to so far in this Grand Prix. He's up 10 spots from position 19, so if he can get P8 and then start from the front of the grid for the next race, which I think that will be the only thing he's able to do, and Toes Rudy lets him by, so that's interesting there that Rudy's let him by that easy.
We've had a big incident as well, sorry, just to butt in, coming up Sector 1, who was it? I think BK? It was Pure Gold, tapped the back of BK, and then Romy collected Pure Gold, so there's been some damage there, I think to both Romy and definitely Pure Gold.
So it doesn't actually, I was just about to say, it doesn't actually look like it too much of Pure Gold, but Romy definitely does have damage.
Yeah, Romy's got
to that left end plate, and I think his teammate might as well, but I don't think any of the drivers will be pitting. They'll just try and continue on. As I have said, it is very easy just to defend your position. You can have a red wing really and be on the hardest compound of tire, and you can defend your position so easy around here. But obviously it is a risk versus reward thing here at Monaco. Any little mistake and just giving you front wing damage can potentially cost you the races. Yellow flags through Sector 1, but I think that's just local just local yellow. Might be a little bit of debris on the track, but they are on lap 13 of 21 at the moment. That's one of the bigger battle packs at the moment, but it's still Iceman and Crossy. 6 seconds now separating them, so Crossy's really struggling at the moment. Breno's actually catching up. He's pulled in 2 seconds in the last couple of laps, but Plebs hasn't really caught up to Breno as much as I think he would have liked to, and I think Dr. Dre has dropped out of DRS. He has, so it's 1.8 now between the two Pramers, so it hasn't really gone Pramers' way. Obviously that it has actually gone their way, but not to the extent that I think they would have been expecting, considering how early they did end up pitting.
Yeah, and from what I can see at the moment, I think there might have been the decision with Plebs and Dre. I feel Plebs definitely is the faster driver at the moment out of the two, but Dre doesn't have a penalty, so if Plebs can get up and get in front of Breno, who also has a penalty, and Crossy also has the same penalty, all three with 3 seconds of penalties, so that's a matter of track position. But if Plebs can get in front of Breno and kind of hold him up a bit, that will also give Dre the position as well, so might be some bit of teamwork going on here. And it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds in these last 7 and a bit laps.
So if you don't mind updating us as well what the top 5 are doing at the moment with penalties, especially Iceman and Crossy and Breno, because we don't have much of a insight on that.
Iceman has 2 warnings from when I last checked. I'll just double check, see if he's... Yeah, so he's kept it clean. He's on 2 warnings still there, no penalty. Crossy has got his 3rd warning, which is a penalty, and I think he's got another 2 by the looks of it. It might be another 1. When it says penalty plus warning, is that the 3rd one?
Sometimes if it's a massive corner cut, it will give you a penalty plus a warning, so that's what I'm pretty sure how it works.
So I'm pretty certain Crossy is the only one out of the top 4, at least, that is got his penalty and another warning added on top. Dre is on 2 warnings, so it'll be interesting to see here. There's a yellow in sector 2.
Yeah, it's just local.
Yeah, we've just had a car. I think that was Wafer. He's just gone too deep down the tunnel, and he's had to. I don't think he lost the position, but I think he was pulling on Spilly there, and it's really hurt him. But I'd like to give another shout out to Todd. Like that's a very, very good effort from the rear of the grid to be up to 8th spot at this point and still pushing to even get 7th. He's just come under 4 seconds, but he definitely knows he's got the pace. So
I'm not too sure. We might. For Todd's side, I don't reckon the best thing at the moment is to overtake. I reckon it would be smarter for him here just to stay in position 8. I reckon that would help him a little bit more, to be honest. I think smarter for himself just to stay in P8, because then you will obviously start from the front row of the grid for the sprint race, and there's no pit stops or no scheduled pit stops that you have to make in the sprint race. So he can just defend the position the whole time. He can just defend from lap 1 if he can get a good launch off the line. And alongside him at the moment will be the gaming wafer, who will want to bounce back from his poor start to the sprint race here, the feature race here this afternoon.
Yeah, the only thing you got to kind of add on to that is the penalties, because you never know what cars in front or cars behind have penalties in relation to yourself. So even if Toddy was to stay 8th, I haven't really looked at his penalty situation and what's going on there, but he might move up, he might move down. And that can really affect you, especially being in 8th spot. We've seen it before. We've seen people come across the line in 8th and be dropped down to 9th. And that's like 8 spots differences going into that sprint race.
So I think BK actually just made a move. I think Pure Gold tried to make a move there on BK, heading through that hairpin, but he's actually gone now. He's gone for the move now. It's Pure Gold. BK's moved under braking there. Very lucky to not make contact. But I think does BK have damage? That's my main question, because he's really going slow. He does not have a left end plate, so he's really holding up this back pack here for position 11. This is only for position 11. You can see they're all driving massively they're driving as fast as possible, because they know that if you can hold on to this position, you will start in P11 for the start of the sprint race. So track position is key in both races here for the Monaco Grand Prix, but BK does push on. So this was the strategy that we were talking about. If you can get yourself ahead and just hold on to it and defend your position, you can just stay there. There's nearly impossible to overtake around here. As now Pure Gold has baited BK a little bit there. He's going to get the move done, heading up the hill, and Pure Gold is now up into position 11 finally. I think he'll be a little bit relieved there to get ahead of the Campos driver finally.
No, here's something that I've noticed. I've been watching a nice little battle here in between Spilly and Gaming Wafer, and Gaming Wafer definitely has a speed on Spilly. Todd's just down to 1.8 now, so he's definitely involved in this.
Gaming Wafer just Tokyo drifted it through to back. I was going to say he was full sideways. You can see the wheel full lock, and he's also just, I think that was James Cruz getting out of the way of him there as well, down in position 19. So James did try to get out of the way, and I think he also got wing damage while doing so. So unfortunately for him, he will be starting from the rear of the grid for the next race, I believe. And there's more yellow flags, and there is actually an incident now. I believe that is a cam pass. So BK is unfortunately spun around. I think he may have hit that inside wall by looking at the skid marks on the track there. So unfortunately for himself, he's now dropped down to P15 behind Romy to Lunacy and Kickbutt. Pure Gold obviously did get the move done heading up the hill into turn 3. So unfortunately for himself now, he's dropped a lot of positions, and Romy Alonso's actually let him go by. So I think him and Romy may have had a little incident.
I think he's figured it out that it's his fault. Yeah, I'm on the same thing now. I just saw Romy had pulled off to the side and let BK pass. But Romy's running with no end plates at all now. I haven't really got a good view to see if BK's got damage-wise. Might be missing the left end plate, I think.
Yeah, BK does have damage.
But yeah, that's a shame to see them both get caught up in another incident together there. It's good from Romy to, let BK pass. Obviously, it still is an incident, and it's cost them both in terms of this, but a bit of sportsmanship in a world where sportsmanship can sometimes be a little bit
not as sportsmanship as you would think as other sports. It's a bit hard to explain, but you get the idea. Plebs is actually not caught up to Breno too much at the moment. He's actually only gained a 10th since we last looked at him. So
Crossy's actually pulled in Iceman by a second, and those gaps from Crossy to Breno and Breno to Plebs have stayed the same. The main battle at the moment is P6, P7, P8. Toddy's all over the back of Gaming Wafer, and Gaming Wafer just keeps pulling in on Spilly, but he keeps losing it coming through the final sector and onto the start-finish straight. So it'll be interesting to see here if Toddy can make a move and hold it. It's all fun and games, and it's all good and well to be able to catch up to these guys, but he's got to be able to make that move if he wants to overtake him.
They both locked up there. I think Game Wafer's going to go straight on. No, he actually manages to pull it up. I thought he was going to go on straight on. He locked up both front tyres there, so he's lucky to keep it on track. I think Romy Alonso's in the pits now, so he does have too much front wing damage to keep it on track, so he's got nothing to lose here. He might be able to try and go for fastest lap later on. As you can see, Wafer Tokyo drifting it again, heading through that corner, so he's got a very loose rear end at the moment as Gaming Wafer. He runs really deep into the corner and nearly hits Spilly, but they're still going on. Toddstar, we have to, as we've talked about a couple of times, the Vitersi driver, he nearly puts in the wall as well there, does Toddstar. So there's zero grip at the moment on any of these tyres. It's just so easy to wheel spin around the Monaco Grand Prix as well, because there's absolutely no camber on any of these corners, except I believe it might be not Anthony Nose, Mirabeau. That's probably the only corner I believe that there's camber on this racetrack. But you can see them heading through Casino now. Gaming Wafer made a little bit of a mistake. Will Toddy dive down the inside? He got more oversteer. He's going to get the inside line now. Todd's and Gaming Wafer's moved under brakes massively there on Todd stand. He's going to put him in the wall now. I think Gaming Wafer half deserved that, to be honest, because he really did move under brakes very badly there. So I think he'll have to take the blame for that one, Will Gaming Wafer, and he did keep that out, so he moved under brakes as soon as Toddy went for that move, so he does have damage now. Has the not the ART, it is the ART driver, sorry, so he has massive damage to that car now, and unfortunately for himself, he's going to massively fall off that battle pack, but Toddstar did have the inside line, and the Wafer tried to hold it there, so he kind of did have the ride, so he probably could have left a bit more room, but I think Toddy was more worried about the moving under brakes, to be honest. They just managed to get through there. It was really tight between both of them, but yeah, I think Wafer's going to have to take the blame for that one.
Yeah, I've just been back up the front here. Plebs has got it under a second with 2 laps to go. He has got a little bit of a distraction in Romy Alonso, I believe, being a lap down and being a ghost car. So that's never going to help him out, especially on fresh tyres for Romy. But
Romy's driven through him, which is not allowed to be done. And race spec rules say that you are not allowed, even if this ghosting system, you are not permitted to drive through another driver to gain an advantage. You have to actually overtake properly, like you're not ghosted. So unfortunately for Romy, he will pick up a penalty there, because I think Plebs will most likely report that, because that is in the rules that you are not allowed to overtake. And if he overtakes here, who is this in front? That's Breno. We're getting the worst camera views at the moment. I'm not too sure why, but Breno, I think he might try and get the move done here. Is Romy, does he drive through him? He does drive through him, so he's going to be in trouble here as Romy. He's definitely going to pick up more penalties, because you are not allowed to drive through another driver. As you can see, Breno was not happy with that at all. Gave him a little bit of a flick of the wheel, so...
Yeah, and I think Plebs isn't going to be happy. He was in range of DRS there, and he's definitely lost out a bit. But it'd be an interesting last lap here. I haven't really checked the penalties in a little bit, so I'll just double check and see what we're going to look at here. So we will... Iceman is clean.
So
sorry, you go.
No, you go. Go.
Iceman is clean. Crossy's close to a second penalty. Breno has picked up a second penalty, sorry, in the meantime, and Plebs is clean for his next penalty. So he's got third on penalties here at the moment. And I think Dre, what are we looking at? What's the gap? If Dre can hold it pretty clean, he will jump Breno as well here, because there's a 5.8, 5.9. Oh, it's just crept up too much. Breno's pushing this last lap. Actually, I don't know. It's just where the track's going.
So Plebs can be on for a podium
because they're so far apart.
Yeah, so Plebs can be on for a podium here for Primo.
Which, once again, I don't want to be that person, but who predicted this?
Yeah, okay. Alright. No, I'll admit, Pledge has done a really good job to get himself to where he has, considering where he started. He did start P8, I believe? No, he didn't.
P7.
P7, sorry. Yeah, that's right. So, unfortunately for Romy Alonso, just to clarify on that rule as well, it was brought up in race spec, or it was brought up by the stewards a couple of rounds ago in the regional series, that you are not, because a lot of these drivers do use cockpit, and when you have a car driving through you, it's actually really hard to see in front of you if you are running a cockpit. So the rule that the stewards have now made is that you are not, if you are a ghost car or you're unlapping yourself, you're actually not allowed to drive through another car and take advantage of yourself being ghosted. You actually have to drive like you aren't ghosted and drive like, you just have to basically drive normally. But as you just seen there, Iceman taking a very good win there for the ART team.
As well.
And Dr. Dre, 3/100ths of a second in the end. He just dumped Breno, so he'll be absolutely kicking himself there, will Breno. But Dr. Dre and Plebs will be super happy with that result. So Prima doing a really good job there for their constructors standings. But Iceman obviously did take the win there for the ART team. Crossy will come home P2 for Sauber. Then it will be the two Primas of Dr. Dre and Plebs. Breno in P5 for Dams ahead of Smilly for Trident. Toddster in the Vitersi team. He will be starting P2 alongside Gaming Wafer, who will start from the pole position for the sprint race. Jay Schmidt will start in P9 for the sprint race, and rounding out your top 10 will be Toes Rudy ahead of Pure Gold, Kickbutt Kiwi, BK down in position 13, Stone Tower 14th, 15th, Romy Alonso leading his teammate to Lunacy. P17 will be VSR Oscar Armour. Unfortunately did get caught up at the start of the race there. Gold Gloves P18, P9 James Cruz, and unfortunately for Donga, he did retire from the session. I think BK's made another little incident there, so he's allowed Stone Tower to get ahead of him. So unfortunately for BK, he's going to be starting in position 14. He does not have a front wing left on that car. So unfortunately for Campos, they have collided again for not the first time this season, and they will be at the rear of the grid.
Been a few times this season. Another thing I'd like to point out, fastest lap was on for a driver inside that top 8. I think it's still the same kind of rules. Obviously, if you score points, if you're in that top 10, you get the fastest lap points.
Yeah.
I think if you're outside, you don't get them. So Romy has jumped both Gaming Wafer and Toddster there for that fastest lap. It was pretty close between the two of them. They both hit a 21.9. I think there was only 6 thousandths or something in between the two of them, and then Romy beat him by 6 tenths. So no fastest lap points in this one, but we've seen across multiple rounds so far that Toddster is very good on that 1 lap pace. He's picked up a lot of the fastest laps. Yep. So, but yeah. This sprint race.
Wait, you forgot the fastest. Sorry, he's in position 8. It says.
Okay, so there you go. So they don't count it at all. They just wipe it. So it's the fastest out of the top 10 then.
Yep.
Because if you go down, I think Romy did 21.3. Yeah.
And so Gaming got 2 points.
So 6 thousandths.
So you got 2 points for fastest lap. They did. Gaming Wafer.
Yeah, so that makes up for obviously losing that position to Toddster. So they get the same amount of points there, both on 6 for that race. But obviously Wafer will start in front of Toddster. on the next grid.
So as you can see here, these are the results from the feature race. If you have a quick scroll through it, as you can see, everyone bar Dr. Dre and Iceman had ended up getting a penalty there, even Plebs. So it's a little bit interesting. We'll have to see how the sprint race goes now. I think we'll see a little bit more of aggressiveness from the drivers, but we're going to let the drivers now actually head over to the grid for the sprint race. Let us know some more predictions in the live chat, and we'll be back with you shortly. So as you can see now, as you can see, the drivers are now heading out for the formation lap for the sprint race. Quick reminder to you guys as well what the starting grid will be for this race. Obviously, the top 8 are reversed for the sprint race. Well, the top 8 drivers that finished in the sprint, the feature race. The top 8 results from the feature race will be reversed. So, Gaming Race will finish position 8 in the feature race. He will start on pole position here for the sprint race. Todd will be in position 2. And then behind him will be Spilly and Breno, Dr. Dre and Plebs, so those two will be starting alongside each other. Crossy in position 7 and P8 Iceman, who did win the feature race before. So I think Gaming Wafer and Todd are going to be very close here for the win this afternoon. They are both really quick, as you've seen, or as we've seen in the feature race. Obviously Gaming Wafer was quick in qualifying. Unfortunately, just got tangled up there, I believe. We're not too sure actually what happened, but I think he got tangled up with his teammate actually. We're not too sure what happened. We unfortunately didn't catch that on the stream. But Todd, as we saw, he started position 19 and got himself up into position 7. So that's a really good drive around the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. As you can see there, he's trying to get as much heat into those tyres. But who do you reckon's going to be able to steal this win here this afternoon, Texas?
My gut and my head says Toddster here. If he can get a good jump, he definitely showed he had enough pace there. Wafer had some good pace as well, before obviously picking up a little bit of damage and having to fight there. But yeah, I think it's going to probably be between these two on the front row. But yeah, we've got a prediction in the chat here from Ryan. Ryan has said that he reckons that Toddy will get P1, Crossy P2, and Plebs P3. I think that's pretty bold, considering that they're 6th and 7th in a race where they shouldn't have to pit. But you never know. Mistakes happen, and a lot of people probably will be pitting.
I think we will see a couple of people pitting without a doubt, but they'll only be for front wing changes because track position, especially in this race where there is no pit stops mandatory, will be key. But as you can see, the light sequence has now begun. 5 red lights and we are under a really quick start there, and it looks like Todd's has got a very nice launch, but Gaming Wave had the better secondary, and he's going to go into the lead of the Grand Prix for the second time this weekend. And now Wafer leads into turn 1. Todd's in P2. Spilly's got himself up into position 3 as well. Breno trying to fight it. He's now been pushed back to P4. Dr. Dre and Plebs are right close to each other. They're heading through turn 3, and there's contact at the back there. I think someone was in the wall. I'm not too sure. But as you can see here, Jay Schmidt's pretty much pushing Plebs, heading into Mirabeau. They now go, and as you can see, he's defending the inside line there. Is Plebs. He just managed to defend that position in the wall and up over the Armco there. That was Iceman, I believe. I'm not too sure. I unfortunately didn't. I think that it was Crossy. It was Crossy, actually. So unfortunately for him, he went over the top of another car. So he's definitely going to have front wing. He's up over, and there's another. Okay, this is a glitch. Never mind. Don't worry. Lunacy and Gold Gloves are glitching everywhere for me. So I don't think Crossy's one was a glitch, but that definitely was a glitch. So we'll move on from that. Gaming Way for leads at the moment. He's got Toddy right behind him, who will want to take full advantage of having no cars really behind him at the moment. Very early in this race, we haven't actually seen Sorry.
I'm just having a laugh to myself because I've just like experienced one of the biggest desyncs I've ever seen. Crossy's just been spun from no one, but he definitely got hit by a car. Like there was absolutely no car there. He's just been spun. But yeah, unfortunate for Crossy there. Obviously did well in that first race before the damage and looked like he was going to push for the victory, but this race has gone completely south for him.
So as they head up Beau Rivage now into turn 3 of Massenet, I've been calling it turn 3 all this time. To Lunacy's now on retirement, so will we see a safety car? I hope there's a safety car.
That was in the pit.
Oh, he's in the pit, okay. Alright, so I kind of want a safety car, to be honest, to bunch everyone back up and bring the race very close to each other. We didn't get one in the first one. We didn't get one in the first one, so we could potentially have a safety car free weekend here for the Race Spec F1 Esports PS4 F2
Who would have thought at Monaco?
Yeah, who would have thought? I mean, we had one at, Abu Dhabi, and it's physically impossible to, like, bin it there, so we'll continue on. Gaming Way for leads on lap 2 as they head into the chicane. Toddy's still there, but I think he's not really pushing at the moment. He's just going to try and save his tyres. Obviously, saving your tyres in this, because you are not making a pit stop, is key. You will be trying to go 15 laps in this Grand Prix, and most drivers were doing around 6 laps on their super soft tyres, so it's going to be a pretty good push here from the drivers to get their tyres to the end. So I think the smartest thing for Todd here is just to try and save up his tyres and force Wafer into an error like he's doing there. As you can see, lock the outside front, which really does hurt your tyres heading through not Beau Rivage. Oh, no, it's not Casino. I don't even know. Todd's up. Yeah, I'm confused.
I know what it is, but I can't remember it. It
is Raskas.
Start with R.
Raskas.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm not Crofty.
I knew that.
Yeah. Spilly's actually got it. I'm not too sure. I need to bring up position change so we can see. There's another yellow flag in sector 3. Actually, I think there is a pile up. Roscoe's into the pits now. Actually, no, it's Crossy in the pits now. So
Crossy into the pits.
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit of a pile up heading through Raskas, but they continue on. Will Toddy go for a dive here? He could have maybe thought about it. Rainford has been locking up every second corner, so his tyre wear is going to be falling out of the window at the moment. Spilly MP3 still, Breno MP4, so you can see the top 6 have not changed positions at all. Schmidt's up 2 spots, Pure God's up 3 spots, Iceman's down 1 spot. Well, you need to remember as well, in F2, after the sprint race, only the top 8 get points for the Grand Prix, so they're all fighting for position 80. As you can see, Todd's is pushing Wafer through the chicane. He's really struggling at the moment. Yellow flag in sector 2, I think that's just another local yellow, but we'll continue on. James Cruz is gone, that's why there's a yellow flag, so he's been in another really weird spot here. James is, I'm not too sure, but he's been spinning it on straight somehow, but not really in the corners, so it doesn't make too much sense. But as you can see, he's got absolutely no wing there, and he's lost it again. Unfortunately, at the hairpin, he's really struggling here, and he's actually going to be lapped here nearly by Gaming Way. Actually, that's not Gaming Way, that's Crossy.
We might see a move here, sorry. Oh, nah.
There's still that yellow flag.
Todd sets the fastest lap. He did have DRS there for the first time this race. On Gaming Wafer, but still couldn't get the move done, so Wafer's making his car very wide here. We do know that he is pretty forceful in the defense, but then again, you do have to be, you can't be, unfortunately poor James has retired there in the tunnel, so this might bring out a safety car. This will be interesting.
We need to watch as well, because will they ghost? I think he will ghost, but he's at the exit of the tunnel, so hopefully the drivers find out where he is. He's most likely going to be off to the left, which is normally the racing line for the tunnel, so we'll have to see here. Actually, his car's gone now, so it's good for these leaders.
I was going to say, green flags are waving now.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, so...
Oh, Crossy's gone. Oh, he's in the pits, never mind.
In the pits as well.
Yeah, so we've had 3 retirements in this race, them being Crossy, Cruz, and to Lunacy, so I'm starting to echo again as well, Curving. Just a quick heads up, so... Continue on lap 4 of 15. That's good, thank you. Sorry. Todd's in P2, and he's might even go for a move here heading to Raskas. Does he think about it? He's going to go the outside line. They made contact there. Todd's pushed him a little bit heading through that Raskas there into the final corner of Anthony Nogues. They continue on now onto lap 5. There will be 10 laps remaining when they cross the line as they head into Sandevot now for the 5th time of the Grand Prix. It looks like Todd's is a lot quicker than Gaming Wafer here, but he's also pushing really hard at the moment, is Gaming Wafer, but he needs to save these tyres as they now head up Beau Rivage into Massenet.
Yeah, I've noticed that Todd's is not too strong out of that last corner, unfortunately, so he's losing too much time for that DRS to really pay off. It's only kind of like refunding him that kind of gap that he was losing coming out of the last corner, so it's unfortunate for him.
Oh, he's hit him massively there, so I think he will definitely have front wing damage from that, but so you continue on.
Yeah, so I'd say if he can get a good enough drive out of this corner here and through the tunnel, I think he's going to make a move now. I think this is the one.
So he's going to have a run here on Gaming Wave as they head through the tunnel. He's not really close enough, but will he send it? He does go for the move now. He wasn't really there. He was forced to back out of that one. But just on your little point there about the not getting the best exits, I don't think he's actually necessarily his fault. I think it's more Gaming Wave for actually just balking him through that final corner. Not intentionally, obviously. It's just he seems to be a lot more quicker than Gaming Wave for the moment. Does Gaming Wave have damage? You want to quickly have a look for that. But I think Toddy might try and go for a move here. Wave for defense inside line, and he's hit him. Now it's Toddy again, so they're continuously making contact. It is
no damage for either.
So there's kind of two racing lines you can take through Raskaz. You can take a very narrow line, which is also defending your position, or you can take a wider line, which in theory does give you a better exit, but you don't really need to have the best exit through there, especially in race terms, because there's only a really short straight there heading into Anthony Nogues, the final corner. So they now head up to the turn 3 into Casino. They will now head. So Todd is looking really good here for a potential win. Gaming Wafer, though, is making his car real wide at the moment heading into lap 6 of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely very hard fought, but both drivers doing a good job. Obviously, there has been contact, but we haven't seen damage between the two of them, which is good, which is what we want to see. We want to see hard fought battles, as long as it is fair, especially on both drivers, because the last thing we want is one of them to get damage and then it just be a one-horse race.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have just noticed that the Stone Towel and Romy Alonso both popped into the pits there and dropped to the back of this one.
So unfortunately for Arden, they're not going to be scoring any good points here this afternoon. They've had a retirement in both races for their drivers, so unfortunately for themselves, they will not be taking home any good points here this afternoon again, but they continue on lap 6. You can see Toddy make a little mistake there. Oh, he's nearly got to get... Oh, that was really close. I'm not too sure if you saw that, but he was like a millimeter...
I didn't see the second half, no.
He was a millimeter from hitting the wall there, without a doubt. He was full sideways heading through that chicane, and he just kept it on track, but he's lost a lot of time now to Gaming Wave. If he does have DRS, I do actually need to bring up telemetry. I keep forgetting to do that, so I apologise for not having that up on screen, but Wafer does actually set the fastest lap there, so that's interesting. If you want to give us a quick little update as well, as we've just seen Donga get a 3-second penalty on what the top two are doing with time penalties as well, if you don't mind. But there's another battle here as well for position 3. Spilly has actually, I think, got ahead of Breno as well, so Spilly now... Actually, no, they haven't swapped positions, don't mind. So
Spilly's been holding that, yeah. But a very, very nice little group there. I think it goes... Sorry, I've just got the thing up, so I'm not sure how far down it goes. I think it's down to nearly where the last points are. Might be down to Schmidt.
It's, no, Pure Gold's in that pack. Iceman's in that pack, so there's a really big pack at the moment from position 9 to position 3 at the moment. So that's a very big battle pack at the moment for the final spot on the podium. Yeah,
and like we say, with penalties around here as well, if Spilly was to pick up a penalty, that would drop him down about 4 spots.
Oh, no!
At least, maybe.
Sorry, Todd's just got himself a 3-second penalty. So he's kind of out of this Grand Prix now.
I was just about to bring that up that he had too.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Wafer won't know unless he asks, obviously, because he can't see. Wafer's only got 1 warning, but Toddster will know now to either force a move here or force him into making a mistake to get himself back on level terms in terms of like penalties.
So Wafer, do you know how many warnings Wafer has at all? If you can update us.
Wafer only has the 1.
Okay, so he's looking alright at the moment. There's not too many laps to go. There's about 7 laps remaining in the sprint race here, but this is the main battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. Then we obviously have this massive battle pack at the moment for position 3, led by Spilly, then Breno, Plevs, Dr. Dre, Jay Schmidt, Pure Gold, and Iceman. The winner of the sprint race is unfortunately out of the points, the feature race. He's unfortunately out of the points at the moment, so Pure Gold will be taking home the last points. Top 8 only get points for the sprint race. We need to remember that. Top 8. Oh, you see Todd was nearly pushing here. I kind of want to keep on this battle because I know I'm going to miss it.
Through the corner there. Yeah, that's it. Like we missed Wafer's incident last thing, so I'm just trying to keep an eye on it as well. But there is a nice little battle. None of that 3rd to 9th group have penalties yet. There's a few on 2 warnings, a few on 1. I'll pick up with it again with about 3 laps to go and just double check where everyone's sitting there so we kind of get a rough estimate. But we'll keep an eye on that pack and we'll watch these two at the front.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because that is also actually at that pack at the moment from position 3 to position 9 are all legit, so they do not have penalties whatsoever. Totsa again pretty much pushing Wafer. Oh, and he's gone! Totsa's gone! Just kept it out of the wall. He hit the inside wall there 100%, but unfortunately for Totsa, he's now lost a lot of time. 1.9 seconds now, and this is not good for his race. This could be good for Gaming Way if he can just chill out a little bit here. Now Todsa has to push that little bit harder to catch back up to Wafer, and he also needs to get 3 seconds at this point, at this stage, to actually win this Grand Prix. So he's not only got to catch up, but he's also got to get that 3-second gap after he makes a maneuver, hopefully.
Yeah, and for the 4th lap in a row, he's picked up a warning on that last lap, and I think I did see it. It was the entry to the swimming pool bit. So the first part of the chicane there, he had jumped across, I think, with 4 wheels off. But yeah, so obviously he's going to have to push hard to catch up here, but he can't afford to get any more penalties because that first one's already cost him a very good chance at the win here. But I think it's just... Todd's has definitely got the pace. I think he's starting to drop off now. Wafer's definitely done a really good job here. We saw him last week in Spain in this, I think it was in the sprint race as well, where he took off, and by the end of the race his tyres were a bit dead.
So I think Toddy's cooked. Oh, there's a massive crash now at the chicane. I think that's pure gold now. As you can see, Schmidt's gone off, and there was an incident there definitely at the chicane. I was going to say there wasn't going to be too long until there would be an incident between these guys, and unfortunately now for pure gold, I think he was caught up, so was Schmidt. So now that battle is kind of spread out a little bit. Tots is trying to catch up. He's going around 5/10 that lap, but as we said there, Tots has got that 3-second penalty, but he's really cooked his rear tyres 100%. He's been too eager on that gas pedal. So he's got 5 laps now. He's got to try and catch up to Gaming Way to get within his DRS range, and then also overtake him and pull out a 3-second lead. And as you were talking about before, curving, it is really hard to actually overtake around here, and let alone overtake Wafer. And now there's more yellow flags. Not too sure what that's for. Everyone looks quite clean, so it might be just another local yellow. But we'll go through your order real quick as that's 5 laps remaining. Wafer leads away ahead of Toddster for the Virtuosi team. Spilly in P3 at the moment, leading this really tight pack between himself, Breno, Dr. Dre, Plebs, Iceman. Pure Gold has now actually got a move done on Jay Schmidt. So nice move there heading into Mirabeau. For Pure Gold. He's actually been hit there by Schmidt, so a lot of people are getting penalties at the moment. Gold Gloves just got himself one down in position 16, but Schmidt's now been pushed back down to P9. 10 will be Toez Rudy. P11 Kickbuck Kiwi, P12 BKXI leading his teammate in P13 a Big Donga, P14 Stone Towel, Romy Alonso in P15, and P16 is Gold Gloves, who is now retired from the Grand Prix.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he just sped into the pit lane. I was just about to say that I felt like he was in danger of being disqualified after that last lap. He picked up 18 seconds worth of penalties just on that one lap.
Jesus, okay.
So, very unfortunate for Gold Gloves, because early in that first qualifying, obviously for the feature race, he was looking pretty fast. He was up in that front group for a long time during that lap. So that's a shame to end his weekend off there. I honestly didn't realise that Roscoe Arm had retired either. But that was on lap 4. Oh, okay. I only saw the 3 that had retired, so yeah.
So I knew he retired, but I didn't know how he retired. I wasn't too sure on that. But look, as you can see now, Todsa has caught up to the rear Gaming Way for right on his tail now. So I think we will see a move here potentially from Todsa. He's trying to set up a move. As you can see, he's pretty much pushing him, heading through that right end. He's got the run now. As you can see, he's actually lost a little bit on exit. He spun those rear wheels up, but I think we may see a dive bomb here from Todsa. Wait for defends the inside line. He can't move back to the right. He's got to hold that line, and Todsa has made an attempt to stay on track as he cannot afford another warning. So he's now lost a lot of time now, 1.1 seconds trying to hang it around the outside there. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do for Todd, because he was always going to have to back out of that. So I think the smartest thing would have been there just to make Wafer actually have that tighter line and just stow. And he's actually hit the wall now as Todza. So has he got damage on that car? He doesn't look like it visually, but doesn't mean he could have a little bit of damage to that wing. But he's only going to have a couple of laps remaining in this Grand Prix to just get ahead of Wafer, but then also pull out that 3-second lead, which I think he can pretty easily pull out 3 seconds to Wafer. He's a lot faster than him at the moment, but he's just got to get ahead of him is his main aim at the moment.
Yeah, and that 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th have all split up on that last lap. There was about 1.1 seconds between all of them at some point in that last lap. Breno's caught back up to Spilly. Unfortunately, Dre has dropped back here, and Plez is being held up in the process to this. I think Breno's definitely got the pace to pass Billy here, but like we always say, you've got to make that pass stick around here. And he'll be definitely looking to for a bit of revenge to get on that podium after what happened in the first race. So Billy's sitting on 2 warnings. And Breno also on 2 warnings there. So, well, also Dre on 2 warnings.
Oh, he's made a move now,
Todd.
He tried to make a move there. Sorry about that. Wafer ran wide, heading into the chicane, and Toddy stuck his nose in there. He was very lucky not to get any damage to that car, but Wafer made that little error there, heading into the chicane, and Toddy was actually kind of forced to go to the inside line to defend his position. Did you just... What's happened? Sorry.
Yeah, Breno's just picked up his 3-second penalty as well, so that's going to really hurt him and those podium chances. But this is an awesome battle here. Toddy's trying everything he can to stick his nose alongside. He needs
to stop being so eager on the gas pedal.
Yeah, that's
his
it.
problem.
That's what I've been noticing. I noticed it in the first race as well when I was watching that little battle when he was coming through on Wafer. He just gets too eager coming out of that last corner, and he loses all his kind of grip, and it really costs him a chance at overtaking into turn 1.
See, these two do have a little bit of history. Obviously, they did. I think they've actually made contact or had a little run into each other in all the rounds this season, by the way. And I think... Oh, he's got down the inside now. It's Toddy. He's forced the issue, but he wasn't able to get it done. He was way too deep on the brakes. Well, he wasn't way too deep, but he just wasn't really close enough. He only got his wheel just overlapped as he started turning into the corner. He was never going to get that job done, so he will continue on. He's really risking it now. He knows he's got to push a little bit harder, but I don't think that's the way to do it. He needs to get a really nice run off that corner that he just went through and get the run heading into the chicane on Wafer, and he just needs to chill out his tyres, I reckon. This remaining of this lap, he needs to chill out his rear tyres just so he can get a good run. As you can see, he's getting such better runs than Wafer. He's a lot quicker than him. He just needs to chill out his rear tyres a little bit and stop being so eager on them, to be honest. That's his main problem. He might even try and make a move here. So what's going on?
Another, yeah. He's just lost the rear again, but he is really trying to force this. They're coming onto the penultimate lap here. That's a better run out of that last corner, but Wafer is just so nice onto the throttle there that it's just not enough.
Oh, he's gonna hit him. He hit him there. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you, but keep going. Sorry.
No, that's exactly what we're after. Look, when there's this much action on the track for these two.
Oh, they're both in the wall. They both just made contact there. Toddy did hit the wall. He scraped it, so he may have front wing down. I think he does have a little bit of right end plate damage there to that Virtuosi car. It doesn't actually look like it, so he's very lucky to get away with that. It looked like Wafer made a little error and Toddy followed him. So it's turning up at the moment, unfortunately.
They're walking through that hairpin at the moment. I don't know if Wafer is just taking it easy, taking a tight line so Toddy doesn't make a move there. But Toddy, I can tell he feels like he can go faster through that hairpin.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you just see how much deeper he is under brakes everywhere compared to Wafer. You see he's got like half a second there heading into that corner. Let's see what the gap is exiting the corner. Oh, he made a little error there, but if he got that corner right, he would have been right up him. So he just needs... This will be the penultimate lap, and he's gonna definitely, I reckon, try and make a move here. What's to go with Wafer's penalties, by the way, if you don't mind informing us?
He's got 2 warnings. I've just checked. He got a warning last lap. 2 warnings. Toddy's on 5 warnings.
Oh, he's gonna hit him again here, is Todd Star. Sorry, I'm still interrupting you, but Toddy's hit him again. This is going to be a very intense battle. I apologise not showing anyone else on the street, anyone else at the moment, but this is the battle to watch at the moment. It's going to be close. But obviously, Wafer is on his last warning, so he cannot make any sort of error. At the moment, Todd has gone into the wall. You said he was always going to, it was eventually going to happen, and he's unfortunately bottled it, and now Spilly will have a very good chance here at potentially getting P2 because Toddy does have massive wing damage now.
This is going to put someone else on the podium. If Dre doesn't have a penalty, he's got the podium here because Breno definitely has a penalty from what I know.
So what's it go with Spilly?
I'll just double check and see what... Spilly is on 2 warnings, so he's got to keep it safe. Dre is on 2 warnings and Plebs is on 1. And yeah, Breno's got that penalty and obviously Todd's just got that penalty plus an extra 2 warnings. But Todd's has got damage here. Look at this pack.
Car park.
This is only going to hurt the ones with the penalties, like
exactly.
I said. And there's only points until 8th spot. I'll just go and double check who's got the fastest lap as well, just so...
So all of these drivers at the moment in this pack is in the top 8. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're all good. Todd does have the fastest lap in terms of those that are in the points, so...
I'm not too sure how much damage Toddy got. I'm not too sure how much damage Todd's got there, to be honest, because he's hit the wall there, so he 100% has damage now.
Oh, Dre's just hit the wall as well. Keep it clean, Dre. Keep it clean. Sorry, no favoritism or anything, but I just want to see these Prema guys do well after the crap start to the season they had.
So who's going to be the one brave onto brakes? It doesn't look like any of them are, so they're just going to try and bring it home. But obviously penalties are going to have a massissive play
He's going to
in
do
this.
it again.
But Gaming Wafer will win the Grand Prix. Toddy's going to come home in position 3, 4, 5.
No.
P5. So Spilly's going to get into P2, and Dr. J will come home P3. So Prima ending up on the podium for both races here this afternoon, this weekend. So they've done a really good job. 100% the team of the weekend, to be honest. That's without a doubt in my mind. So they've done a really good job
across both
here this afternoon. Spilly got himself onto P2. Plevs will be P4. Obviously his teammate in front of him. P5 will be Todd. So Iceman P6, Breno P7. P8 will be Schmidt. Rounding out your top 9 will be Pure Gold. And top 10 will be Kickbutt Kiwi.
This is going to be a very interesting standings for the whole weekend, because not many people made it through in terms of, like, you know, I think one of the Prema boys might snatch this actually, because Wafer definitely finished 8th in that first race, but he did win this one. I don't know. Honestly, can't call it yet.
Quickly predict. Let's quickly predict. Who do you reckon? I reckon it's Dre or Plebs, 100%. Who do you reckon? Let's do a prediction.
I think it's going to be Iceman.
You reckon it's going to be Iceman still?
Because those first race points are... What do we got? Yeah, he does.
Don't tell me!
Well, so.
Okay, you weren't supposed to tell me. It was supposed to be a secret. Alright. Anyway.
It was very close, though. There's 3 points from 2nd to 6th.
Alright, so as you can see, we're here. We're just going to go through your results for the overall weekend. Iceman ended up winning. He was the most consistent, without a doubt, so... He will win the overall weekend. He will take home 29 points for his drivers and constructors standings. Players will come home P2 for Prema. Then it will be the Sauber driver of Crossy, and then the other Prema of Dr. Dre. So 100% congratulations to Dr. Dre and Plebs on their results here this weekend. Gaming Wave will be P5, P6, Billy, P7, Toddster, P9. So PA will be Breno, P9, XXJ Schmidt. Then it will be the Carlin driver of Toes Rudy, who will take home 1 singular point. Then Pure Gold, Kickbutt Kiwi, Stone Tail, BK, Romy, Big Donga, Gold Gloves, VSR, Rusco, James Cruz, and Lunacy, all unfortunately failed to get points. So we're going to actually, what's the time? We've actually got a bit of time, so we're going to try. Yeah, we're going to try and get some post-race interviews in real quick for you guys. We'll be back with you shortly. Stay tuned for some post-race interviews with the top 3. So here we have a couple of drivers here this afternoon for some post-races interviews. I'll read out the list real quick because I've already forgot. So we have Iceman in here, Plebs, Crossy, Gaming Wafer, and Dr. Dre. Congratulations to all of you on your results here this afternoon. We'll start with you, Iceman, obviously winning the first race of the feature race here this weekend. The Monaco Grand Prix. Congratulations on that. How were you feeling at the beginning of that race? Obviously, you had a little bit of pressure at the beginning, but at the end, you just managed to bring it home.
Yeah, it was. I was feeling okay going into qualifying, and to start off P3, I was really ecstatic with that. So I was just trying to carry that momentum into the race. Got my best start on F2 so far. Both myself and Gaming Wafer got into first and second before turn 1, and then just tried to stay with him as long as I could. Then get a little mistake out of the chicane. I just tried to push on from them. I was a little bit worried about the pit stop strategy. Crossy went in the lap before me. I was worried about the undercut, but managed to actually extend it on that lap.
Yeah, so congratulations on that win. We'll move on to you real quick, Crossy. Obviously, you were looking like you're in contention for the feature race win there a little bit, but unfortunately, it looked like you just got yourself a little bit of wing damage early in that race, and that just cost you.
The race, obviously getting pole, definitely over the moon with that. Yeah. And then going on to the race, just struggled to really work, didn't get the greatest start, struggled to work with the tyres, car kept understeering all over the shop, got wing damage, and then I think about 3 desynced cars on the circuit that I had to navigate my way through in the entire race. Wasn't fun, but magically ended up getting 3rd overall on the weekend. Don't know how I did that, but why not? Congratulations
to you on that. But we'll move actually on to you, the two Primo boys of Plebs and Dr. Dre. Really good result for you for the overall weekend. Obviously, coming home position 2 and position 4 in the overall weekend results. We'll start with you, Dr. Dre. In the feature race, obviously pitting really early compared to a lot of the drivers. I believe it was lap 3 and then Plebs pitted lap 5, I believe it was. I'm not too sure. They were really close to each other. But what was you thinking there? Were you always intending to come in very early compared to the others and just get some free air? Or was it a split-second decision?
Nah, I was always intending to go early. Like, I felt I was being held up, so I knew if I could get some clean air, then I could maybe jump a couple of cars. Yeah. And yeah, that worked out a bit. Not the best, but because at the end of the race, my tyres were gone. But yeah, it's alright. Yeah, well,
we'll also move on to you, Plebs. I believe you pitted a lap, maybe 2 laps later than Dre. Were you intending to pit as well pretty early, or did you just try to follow what your teammate was doing?
Yeah, I was going to go straight after Dre on the next lap, but I forget who it was. It was
Rudy.
Rudy, yeah. He got wing damage and he was really slow, and I knew he'd have to change his wing, so I don't know why I didn't box, but I just went for another lap, and the tyres were pretty bad that lap, so yeah, I probably should have pitted earlier, so 1 lap earlier, but anyway. Yeah, and then I felt Dre and I had really good pace. We switched around to because I got a penalty to see if I could get past Breno.
Yeah, we did see that.
Yeah, because he had a penalty as well. But yeah, couldn't get past, and he ended up getting 6 seconds, so it didn't matter. So yeah. Yeah,
very very close. Both times as well for Dre. In that first one, I think it was only like 300s or something like that.
Yeah, 100s. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Close, yeah.
We'll move on to you real quick, Gaming Wafer. Sorry, you can go, Matt.
No, you're all right. Yeah, I was just going to say it was a good weekend for Prema, so yeah, pretty happy with that.
Taking home some good constructors points there for the Prema team. But we'll move on to you, Gaming Wafer. Obviously winning that sprint race there, the final race of the weekend. You had an immense amount of pressure from Toddster, but what was the go there with? It just looked like you're a little bit slower or didn't have the same amount of pace compared to Toddster throughout that race. What was the go there? Were you just trying to make sure you got your tyres to the end, or did you just genuinely not have the pace in your car today?
Yeah, I tried to keep the tyres alive because I blew a puncture on the last lap in the feature, so I didn't want that to happen again in the sprint. Yeah. But yeah, I was really cautious, and then it's so hard to overtake around here, so I just put my car in the right spots, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, definitely did in the end, but obviously what was you thinking there once you saw on the final lap of the Grand Prix, you saw Todd's spin around behind you? Was there any contact between you at all, or did Toddy just do it all by himself?
No, he did it all by himself. He was behind me, so I don't know if he hit the rear of me. Didn't feel anything, but so much relief when that happened.
Yeah, I think he ended up winning by over 10 seconds, but Congratulations to you all. I'm not too sure. Do you have any questions at Curving for the drivers?
Well, I haven't really got too many questions. I'd like to just say to Wafer in that last race that I think your main key, especially since you did say you were saving tyres a lot there, well, trying to, considering what we saw last week where you pushed real early, got that gap, and then kind of fell back into the clutches, really worked in your favour. But you did well coming out of corners, and that's where Todd sort of looked like he was struggling a bit, especially out of that last corner. Even with that DRS, he just couldn't get close enough, and ultimately, but good race weekend for all of yous. Happy to see the Prema boys starting to pick up a lot of points now, and be up where they should be here. So
yeah. So congratulations to all you guys. I know you guys have a couple of you guys have stuff to do, so we'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for joining for some post-race interviews. Thank you, Curving, as well, for joining me in the commentary box again for this round at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolute pleasure again. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We'll see you guys next week as well. I'm not too sure what track it is. I'm not even going to try and guess because I know I'll get it wrong. But my name is Expert. Thank you guys for joining, and I will see you guys next time.